Oh, g'day everyone, and welcome to a late edition of Tuesday Night Live. It's actually Wednesday Night Live, unfortunately, but good things come to those who wait, and we're happy that you have waited, and thanks to everyone who's joined us. We won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Night Live this Wednesday, the 30th of March. I hope you can all hear us. I'm pretty sure I've pressed all the right buttons tonight. And at the moment, it's just me. Unfortunately, after my work commitment last night, Peter unfortunately has an engagement that he can't get out of tonight. But I do promise that we have a favourite son returning for a cameo performance on Wednesday Night Live. J&M, repeat. Is everything all right there on YouTube? I think everything's all right on YouTube. I don't have anything coming through that shouldn't be. All right, very good. Must be you, J&M. No, I won't reveal who we've got coming on tonight, but it is a favourite son of the podcast that we haven't had on for ages. So in Pete's absence, we will have him on as soon as he rocks up, which hopefully is shortly. In the meantime, just a reminder that we have our Showdown ticket giveaway. So if you are free and available this Friday night and you don't have a ticket to the Showdown and you want to go to the Showdown, please put your name in the... what should I put it in? I'll just quickly make a channel. A channel called Tickets. Hopefully everyone can see that. Just doing some real quick renovations. Everyone can see it. Everyone can send messages. All good. All right, so if you are available tonight, if you're available on Friday night and you want to go to the game, please put your name in the tickets channel, which you'll find on the left-hand side. If there's any problem accessing that tickets channel, just let me know. But I think I've just set that up. And we will be drawing that prize before the end of the cast. We'll just be doing it by random number generator. So stick your name in there, and we will be drawing it by the end of the cast. You reckon my voice is repeating on... I reckon that's just you, J&M, because everyone else seems to be all right on YouTube, and I can't see any repeating going on my end. If other people apart from J&M can confirm on YouTube that my voice is fine, I'm pretty sure it's fine. All right, so first of all, let me just get the pleasantries out of the way. Don't forget, if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/AFLCrowCast. We have some fantastic supporters on Patreon, and there is a little bit of additional content there available to those patrons. When we get player interviews, they get exclusive access, and there's a few other bits and pieces that will be going on during the year. Of course, if you're listening to us on YouTube and you want to get around the chat, not only during the live streams but also during game day, it's an excellent chat during game day. So get onto the Discord channel. The invitation links are everywhere in our Twitter profile, on YouTube, everywhere. So get around that. And of course, after the weekend, we haven't got a lot to talk about that we haven't talked about with Nikki and Macca on the weekend, but we certainly do have a lot to talk about in terms of the Showdown coming up this week. So don't forget, This show is interactive. We've got, what's that, 4, 8, 12, 16? We've got 20 people in the live studio chat. So if you like, while we're waiting for our special mystery presenter tonight, feel free to stick your hand up and have a chat not only about the game that was played on the weekend, but also the game coming up on Friday night. Don't also forget, and we will be talking about this, the massive final coming up for the Crows women's team. That should be an absolute banger, and the Crows will have benefited from the break, I believe, in the due to the COVID issues that were being experienced. So I reckon we'll be ripe and fit and ready to go on that. We've had how many players did we get nominated in the All-Australian squad? How many was it? We had 6, and I reckon there was one girl that was also a bit stiff. Now, who was that? That was Chelsea Bedell, I reckon, was a bit stiff. Erin probably a little bit lucky to get in. I reckon probably a body of work selection there for Erin getting in, but a fantastic achievement by the Crows women to get 6 players into the All-Australians again. Just every year they keep turning up. They keep putting in efforts that seem to be just a step ahead of the rest of the competition, and the club rightly is proud of their achievements so far, and it looks like being a march to maybe another premiership, which would just be an absolute fantastic achievement for this squad of players, particularly considering there's been a little bit of squad turnover, and some of the young players that have come through over the last couple of years are really starting to become leaders in that team and really starting to take the mantle and share some of the load with Chelsea and Erin and Ebony and a few of those other players that have been mainstays for so long. Right, so I need you guys to help me. Here's Mordot Sir has kindly helped me out. So come in, mate. Oops, what have I done here? I'll just request you. I'll just invite you there. So come on board, mate. I'm happy to have you on. How you going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, mate, you're all good.
Yeah.
Well, now I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically I just wanted to raise the point that I feel like we need to bring up, like, get the media talking about our midfield and just how diabolical it is. Like, you can't keep playing Keys, Crouch and Sloan in the centre bounces. Like, you saw the round 2 and round 1 centre bounce attendances, right? It's just ridiculous, right? We need the media to start talking about that more. I know 5AA this week were talking about it a lot. Like, how can you not let Pedlar get 1 centre bounce appearance last week? Like, I heard some people talking on Facebook saying we drafted Pedlar as a forward, but I'm pretty sure we drafted him as a midfielder. Like,
absolutely.
Is anyone able to confirm that he's an actual midfielder? Because
100% midfielder.
We're not using him as a midfielder.
He's 100% midfielder. He's been recruited as a bona fide midfielder. He played midfield as junior. He's not a forward. He's been picked as a midfielder. And I agree with you, mate. Kane Corns during the week had a little bit of a go at Adelaide with regards to the quality of our list, and I didn't think that was necessarily misplaced to a degree, but I agree with you. Not enough has been made of the fact that not only are we playing 3 very mature age players, or 2 in particular, very mature age players in the midfield in Sloan and Matty Crouch, but there's no rotations. I think after Crouch, Keys and Harry Schoenfeld on the weekend and Sloan, I think Josh Shelley might have attended a couple. I think Geordie Dawson might have attended a couple. When you look at a team like Hawthorn, who have a very similar age profile to us, they're willing to stick their first and second year midfielders in for multiple centre bounce attendances during the game. And they didn't lose anything out of it. Those blokes were getting clearances. I agree with you. Not only it doesn't only hurt us, mate, in my opinion, at the actual centre bounces, but it also hurts us in defensively when we're trying to cover transition, and also offensively when we're trying to move the ball quickly, because what we've seen in the first couple of weeks is just slow ball movement, which has just allowed the opposition to stick in behind the ball and get set and just repel our attacks quite easily. So I 100% agree with you, mate.
Yeah, I just don't understand how they can keep running with the same setup. I mean, it's so obvious to like the hardcore fans like us. We're always getting burnt on the outside every single time because we have 3 of the same midfielders in centre bounces every single centre bounce. It just doesn't work.
Agreed,
What?
mate. Appreciate your insight. I will forward you back to the crowd because people may have noticed. Thanks, mate. People may have noticed my special guest has arrived, and it's with humble pleasure that I welcome an old friend of the podcast, Donkey Magoo. Donkey, how are you going?
G'day, Fiend. How you going? Great to be back.
No audio problems, just straight back into it, like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, look, I've got the setup here. I have upgraded my laptop since the last time I came on, so now I've got a weird, really funny connector that's going into my microphone. So I was a little bit annoyed that I was going to get scolded for some poor connection when I first got on, but all seems to be going well. Happy days.
Dulcet tones, mate. Dulcet tones. How is it up there in the north?
Look, it's hot. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hot, man. I sweat bullets every day. But at least it's not too rainy like some other parts of the country. And yeah, we're going up.
Now, a couple of people might remember at the end of last year, I set up a Get Fit channel on Discord here. And then I proceeded to get COVID, and then my partner proceeded to get COVID, and then work took over, and I haven't lost a bloody ounce. There's a couple in there that have gone fantastically well, Anzac Paul in particular. If people are following the Get Fit channel, Anzac Paul is just an absolute champion. But mate, you've done some pretty good work too over the last few months. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so basically I kind of worked out that when COVID was coming the first time, that I was pretty fat, pretty drunk too often, and not living the most healthy lifestyle, so that I probably wasn't going to make it through a couple of rounds of COVID. So I jumped on my bike, literally, lost about 34 kilos to start off with. I put a couple back on now.
34 kilos.
And then, and I haven't been off the piss for just over a year, and giving up all nicotine. I was doing a bit of dirty vaping for a while, which is stupid, basically. So managed to ditch all that stuff and probably put another 10, 15 years on my life. So, so I was feeling pretty good. I'm hoping to do a half Ironman middle of this year. So I've been training pretty hard, doing on the bike and swimming and running. So I'm boring, and my request for kale, as anyone's following us all on Twitter, my request for kale and a bit of stuff has been banished. So it's just been nice to get back. I did get the package at Tempeh, so it's good.
Mate, look, all jokes aside, it's bloody inspirational. It really is. I mean, do you reckon, like 2 years ago, if I'd have said to you, mate, why don't you go into a half marathon? Like, you would have just about collapsed at the thought of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was not in a. I was in a spot where sort of you just live off adrenaline, especially when you probably drink a bit too much, like I did. You're getting half trashed 6.5 nights a week, and then getting about 4 hours sleep, going to work that was kind of high pressure, and just repeating the cycle. And it was not seeing my kids and not being a guy that I wanted to be at home. So side of the two, I could either keep doing it or get on with it. I did. I've got a bit of a heart condition, and my doctors told me a couple of years ago. They said, "Donkey, you need to lose a bit of weight and stop drinking booze. And I looked at the doctor and said, look, doc, so you're telling me there's anything we can do? And I laughed. Doctor didn't laugh. Anyway, it didn't happen, so it's weird. Didn't laugh. Right. Oh, good.
No, look, I won't go on about it, but I thought I'd highlight it because myself, I need to do exactly what you've done. And as I said, I hit a bit of a roadblock at the beginning of the year with a few bits and pieces. But if anyone can be an inspiration, it's you and Anzac Paul in the Get Fit channel. So for those that are listening, we're going to be kicking that off again pretty soon. So keep an eye on that. If you want to get around it, we'll be doing some, very light stuff around the beach and all the rest of it. It's all about helping each other, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. It's all about helping each other, getting a little bit more healthy. And I tell you what, mate, I just spent the last 45 minutes watching Shane Warne's memorial, and what a sad loss of life that was, despite the memorial being, relatively upbeat and a bit of a celebration. And there's been a few people drop off like that recently, and I don't want to be one of them.
Yeah. Look, and the thing about Shane, even a bit later on, and I don't know, this is all speculation, obviously. So if I'm completely off the mark, I apologise. But
yeah.
Shane obviously struggled with his body and his body image for a long time. And as much as he tried to pretend that he didn't care, obviously really, really cared. And you saw that post his career. And if he wasn't doing it the right way, wasn't doing it the right way, then your insides don't get healthier at the same time as your outside might look better. So, and that's not a good way to be. One of the big things, and for anyone listening at home, one of the big things that's a massive change is I've still got a fair bit of tub on me because I was a pretty big fella, but you lose all the fat around your organs, so you just don't feel like you constantly got your head about to pop off, and that's for me one of the big keys on all that other stuff. The marathons and all those things are aside, but not just constantly feeling like I'm about to pop at some point in time has been good. Yeah.
Well, look, mate, we'll leave it there. But as I said, to everyone listening and everyone that's listening on demand down the track, get in the Discord server, get into the Get Fit channel, look out for a couple of dates where I'll be heading down to the beach for a bit of a walk or make a bit of a start. Anzac Paul's put a lot of stuff in there as well. So let's try and support each other and be as healthy as we possibly can. It's not easy, but as I said, I don't want to be Shane Warne or Taylor Hawkins or all these other blokes that are dropping off around about my age or younger. That's scary shit. So very good. All right, mate. Considering we haven't spoken to you for about 1,000 years, what have you? Just a question without notice that you were probably expecting. What are your thoughts on the rebuild in general and our start to the year being Zip 2?
Well, how good's our midfield?
Inexperienced.
I just think we just need to get Sloaney and Crouch into more centre bounce tendencies, I think, and if we can do that, then things are going to take off. Look, I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. I've never wanted to be someone that's going to jump up and down and beat up a side on the rebuild and say, why aren't we winning games and all that sort of stuff. And I don't care about winning games at this point in time. I do care about whether we've got the strands of development, as I like to put it.
Can I just stop you, Donkey? Can I just stop you? I don't know whether you're watching the stream at all, but in the chat, a person called G.I. Joe has said Nixie needs a slap, and I just think that's the most poignant message, given Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for a reference to the G.I. Joe movie. I just think that's serendipity right there. Anyway, keep going. Please, sorry.
It's all coming back to me now.
That's right. The chaos.
Look, Yeah, you don't want to be a negative Nelly for no apparent reason, and you don't want to be part of the apricot slice brigade that's just cranky for the whole fact that we're not winning. Like that's not where I'm at, and that's not what I'm thinking. But what's been pointed out across lots of different social media channels, and definitely on this cast over the last little bit, is that our recruitment has been pretty terrible over a considerable number of years now. We have not brought in first round talent that has cemented themselves in the position we thought we were going to play them in the best 22. We've got a handful of first rounders that play like second and third rounders, which even if 50% of them come off, we'd have two better players right now. But we're not even at 50% success rate. And for me, there's two parts to that coin, or two sides to that coin. First side is, are we recruiting the right people? And I think that's worth looking at. The second bit is what's happening to them once they get into our club. We're not even turning any roughies any good or into great players. Lockie Neal was still picked at 44. Rory Sloan was picked at 52 or something. Like it's not none of that's actually happening as well. And so I think it's really easy to point to the first fault and say this is a recruiter's problem. And I do think that they are. I do think they've made some mistakes. I don't think Fisher Mackesy should have been picked. I don't think that Chase Jones should have been picked. I think we should have been picking different talent at those points of time. But once we did get them in, why have they necessarily turned into a flop? And that's something needs to be looked at as well. And
that's the point, Tom.
Back.
That's the point, because I agree with you. I don't think Fisher Mack was the right pick, but not because he didn't have any talent, just because I feel like we needed to pick a midfielder. Chase Jones may not have been my pick, but he was rated by most clubs in the top top dozen. So whilst it was a surprise that we took him at 6, he was certainly a first round pick, right? Rated by pretty much all the clubs. And I think this is what makes me lean towards there's an issue with development, because if you have a look at our first round picks over the last few years, even going back to Fogg, we've had Fogg, we've had Gallucci, we've had McCasey, we've had Chase Jones, even Wayne Miller to a degree. You could say that he hasn't come on the way that he was expected to. I feel like there's an issue there. That Hamish has been around for a long time, and yes, he's prone sometimes to speculation. Tom Diday comes to mind, but he's a good spotter of talent. If anyone that's listened to that interview that we did with Hamish at the end of last season, you can tell that he knows his stuff, and he's got a broad network, and for better or worse, he knows what's going on. And I worry about what happens to these kids once they actually reach the club. And this has happened now across, 3 coaches? Maybe even 4. You could probably even think about going back to Brent Sanderson. There hasn't been a lot of play. Like, who's come on to the calibre of Sloan or Dangerfield or Tex Walker in the last half a dozen years? And we've picked up plenty of players.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why I think it's the cop out look is just to look straight at the recruiters, and I think that we need to have a deeper look at that development. And one of the reasons why I say that on the recruitment team is I think that they've actually picked up some fairly decent spare parts and turned them into reasonable players, like your Lockie Scholes and your Hamills and your Butts and a few of these other guys that are getting around that weren't coming in as high picks have turned out to be reasonably good players now. But why can't we get good players to turn elite, or why can't we get the elite player to start off with? The elite player to start off with is often what number pick you've got, but why can't we get the other bits happening? This is more donkey speculation here, is that I think we've got a cultural problem at the club that's different from our other cultural problems, and it's the cultural problems of a fear that we're more worried about failing than we are worried about succeeding. So we're going to stick a kid in. It's more about do they make mistakes or have they done anything, rather than have they done anything good. And we should be looking to develop the strands of goodness rather than just, did he spray a kick? Because if we've got a team full of kids that are too scared to take the game on, then we're going to have a team full of Matt Crouches and Ben Keys that run around circles or go backwards because they'd rather do that than actually try to do something and go forward.
Donk, that is such a good point. And I was so disappointed that they dropped Riley Thilthorpe because, and I highlighted this on a rap show after that game against Freo, and I stand by it now, that it might have been Riley Thilthorpe that kicked that ball into the corridor at the death, but it was every senior player's problem that they didn't get around him to settle the kid down in the heat of battle and say, kick it down the line, right? It's not Riley Thilthorpe's fault. And we've dropped him on the basis of that. Now, Matthew Nix can come out and say whatever he likes, but you don't pick your star recruit, your star forward, in the first round, play him, and then drop him saying that he's lost confidence. If he's lost confidence, there's a problem associated with how he's being handled at the club. And I would suggest part of that problem is dropping the kid for making a mistake. Yes, it costs us a game, but who gives a shit at the moment? Winning games isn't the goal here, is it? Isn't it about letting the kids experience the highs and the lows and learn from their mistakes?
I'm in agreement with you about it's not about wins and losses, and I'm in agreement with you about that's not what we should be chasing. And so I'm going to be really counterintuitive and just argue opposite of what I've just argued, which is, that's why I get to be on this cast.
That's right.
But
that's why you got sacked.
Yes, I got sacked. Yeah, because I was fucking putting duck fat on my fucking kale. Now look, I was my worry about, or not my worry, my justification for the dropping RT, which I thought was the wrong move at the time, but my justification was, if he is down and he's not feeling great, I don't want to burn him on the MCG, where that might be the one opportunity he plays there for the next 18 months. And if he's already feeling not great, then that's going to reinforce that negative thing on the G, which, we only get to play there once a year. So that would be my only caveat. I didn't want the ghost of Jack Watts to kill him. But in saying that, I reckon he's played 13 games now, something like that. I reckon he's been pretty good for those 13 games. Like, he's been, not just a recruit. He's been a pretty good, player. I reckon he has got an absolute competitive beast, mongrel nature about him. Like, you could just see in a couple of those early games when if Fogg was getting goals, he was like happy about it, but he also wanted to kick more goals. You can just tell by his swagger, and we don't have enough people that have that swagger. And I reckon costing the game himself. He's just got a little bit too much on himself, where he's putting that pressure on, and sometimes you just let the swelling come down. So so I wouldn't. It's too hard to know what the internal was on that one, on the Riley Thilthorpe one. So that's probably my only caveat on it. But I do agree with what you're saying in terms of back the kid in and give him a go. That should be absolutely it. But if he's cooked and a bit swollen, then I don't mind giving him a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I accept that point of view. And you're right. We don't know what the backstory is, if there's an underlying issue, or if there's a longer term issue, or more to it. But to me, it just seems like a bad look to drop a kid after one game when he's made a mistake that really was just as much the fault of the senior group as it was him. And I guess we're following on from that, Donkey, we've been told time and time again that the reason why we're picking Sloane, Crouch, etc., is because you can't play a team of kids. But that's a prime example. That kick by Thilthorpe was a prime example of where you need that experience. You need someone getting, and what's the point of having experience on the field if they don't use that experience when it counts, and that was that. The experience failed in that situation, in my opinion. I also think that the experience is failing because I don't disagree with you regarding, maybe some more cultural underlying issues. I think the underlying issues is that was a bit twofold. I think we elevate our good players to a very high level within our club. I think our club is very insular with regards to how it rates its players. I don't think it does a lot of benchmarking to externals, and if it does, it seems quite simplistic. Like, you can't say, well, Crouchy got 40 touches, so therefore he's as good as Patrick Cripps. You know what I mean? It's just obviously it doesn't work like that. But I feel like we overrate our senior players, and I think that is partly because that partly leads to a situation where our senior players are almost demanding to play in certain positions. Now, Rory Sloane should know by if he was critically analysing his own performance, if he was looking at his tape and he was watching himself getting burnt by Brodie Grundy out of the middle and not being able to keep up, if he was critically analysing his last couple of weeks, surely he must get to the point where for the good of the club, he's going to say, look, you know what? I'm going to play off a half-forward flank, and I might rotate, half a dozen times through the middle. But we need to give Luke Pedlar a run in the middle, or we need to give Sam Pedlar a go. To me, what's Sloaney playing for at the moment? Why is he playing? He's not playing because he thinks he's going to get another premiership. So what's his purpose? What's his goal? Because to me, it doesn't look like it's to develop the younger players. Does it look that way to you?
Well, I think you said about attendances show that it's not. Yeah, I agree with you. I think different leaders have different styles, and I think Sloaney is one of those leaders that is, first over the trench, or first over the wall, and when you're locked into that mentality, that is how you have to do all of your leadership. Whereas we need him to be probably more of a Luke Hodge in his last couple of years at Hawthorn and in his time at Brisbane. We need
exactly.
we need a Malvey general. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think Sloaney is doing what he thinks he needs to do to get that done, but I just don't think it's not what we need.
No, I don't think it is either. And it's hindering us. I mean, the fact that they brought Wayne Miller back in after 2.5 years or however long it was out, and no preseason games, and picked him at the expense of a Braden Cook or a Lockie Glenn or a Luke Pedlar or a Sam Berry, to me speaks absolute volumes. I know Matthew Nicks wanted to reward him for his bloody recovery and all the rest of it. Gifting him a game is not how to reward him. It made him look like a dick, and now he's got to go back and play in the twos because he's clearly not up to it, and that selection probably cost us the game just as much as Riley's kick into the bloody corridor did.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, if you look at the CrowCast as an example, like I'm pretty sure I was part of the team announcement for the last time Wayne Miller played, and you kept me off. I was chomping at the bit for a few weeks, and you've kept me in the twos. So maybe have a few more conversations with the wife, a couple of one-on-ones with Macca on the radio, and now you've let me back on. And look how I'm going.
Yeah, and you're hungry, right? You're hungry now.
Absolutely hungry.
See, that's it. But I mean, all jokes aside, I've been very confused by selection. I've been very confused by the development paths of certain players. I look at a lad like Jordan Gallucci, and I know there's tons of talk about Gallucci, but when I saw him play midfield minutes, I saw a lad that ran hard, ran straight at the ball, ran straight lines, and was able to cop heat, right? He was able to take physical contact, And he had a lot of good attributes, Jordan Galucci, and yet how many times did we see him attend a centre bounce or play a game in the midfield? I don't think we ever did.
I don't understand how we have seen enough from Jordan Galucci to drop him. Like, I just don't think that we. It's done what it's done. But I was actually in a bit of shock when we ditched him. Because
I think he lost motivation, Donkey. To be honest with you, and you would, wouldn't you? You're a first round draft selection. You walk into a club. You're all ready to go, and just sit in the forward pocket. And we're doing the same to Sam Berry now. Sam Berry is an absolute bull, and he might have his limitations, but in terms of being a coalface player with a bit more dynamic range than Matthew Crouch, he's exactly what we need. And yet, what do? We play him in the forward pocket for 20 games with maybe 5 centre bounce attendances for the whole season, and then this year, on the back of some, pretty reasonable sort of pre-season form, he's back in the twos. And who's back in? Matt Crouch. The development plans doesn't seem to make sense. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, and the thing about Berry is we don't know where his ceiling is yet. He's getting better. Like, why would you stick that in reverse? So, the Berry one's I think probably one of the most upsetting things I reckon is happening this year is because that kid played very, very well. You always get 100% effort out of him.
Yep.
For the most part, did some really great stuff. Didn't burn the ball, had bits of composure, all the things that we ask for and crave out of a midfielder, and haven't seen him already. It was very much the same. And I know he's not flavour of the month this year, but a couple of years ago, must have been 2020, I feel like Elliot Hillenberg ran out the year at the end of the year really well. Did the last 4 or 5 games, kicked a lot of goals, did some fucking really brilliant things.
Yes.
And then the start of next year, we saw fucking Billy Idol, like clogging up the full pocket, taking clunkings to marks and spraying them out in the full. What was the point? What was the point? If you've got game time form, it counts. Put it in.
Yeah, I agree. And we did the same with Harry Deer prior to that. And Harry Deer showed very similar qualities to Elliot Himmelberg in terms of being nimble below his feet, being a bit aggressive. Harry Deer was certainly more aggressive than Elliot. Not Elliot is obviously that he looks a bit laconic. But I don't know about that. A lot of people in the chat talking about Ronan O'Connor, and I agree. 192 centimetre midfielder, the captain of the WA under-18 side. Now I know that's not the be-all and end-all, but he was obviously a good player. And what did he get? 2 games? Got 2 games. And we kept Benny Davis ahead of him. We ditched a 192 centimetre hard nut midfielder with pace who could tackle for Ben Davis.
Yeah.
And we need midfielders. We need midfielders, and we keep another halfback flanker that we've got 940 of. So I don't know. I don't remember how last time you were on. I used to bang on about I want to understand the plan. And I don't understand the plan. The plan doesn't seem to be obvious. Not only the game plan on the field. I mean, why the hell were we playing a slow, chippy game plan against Collingwood on the MCG? Of all the bloody places where you just slow it down, you just let a team like that get behind the ball and burn you. Why did we roll out that game plan? Why? It's not even suited to our current list. We don't have the chops to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I had my mind turned to the coaching staff today. I was thinking about Nixie and whether he, what's he doing? In my brain, I was like, mate, no, he's only just started. New coach. Get to give him time. Now, I sort of had a realisation. This is his 3rd year. We're in Nixie's 3rd year. And what is it that we can see that's different? Like why? What's his stamp on the club?
Can't see it.
I don't know what it is. At the beginning of last year, maybe I could have given you that we were taking the game on and throwing it forward and doing all those things, but that seems to have evaporated already. We already seem to be not, playing on at all costs and moving the ball and doing all that stuff. Like that's the problem. There's no real vision here. Like if we were just at every opportunity moving the ball forward, putting it into contest, backing ourselves in to win the 50-50s and being okay when we don't, then I'd be happy because things are happening. But there's just nothing happening.
Yeah. And what I'm seeing, I've got to be honest with you, is a lot of Brenton Sanderson's basic see ball, get ball. It's all about ground ball gets. It's all about contested possession. And Collingwood have been burning us with that style of play for ages and they did it again on the weekend. They just sit off. They don't commit as many to the ball, to the contest as we do. We get sucked into the contest with 3 blokes going for the agate. We shuffle it out under pressure, and they've just circled the wagons around the contest, and they're able to clear or put pressure on our clearance. It's a simplistic way, and I understand you've got to have step one, get the ball. I get all of that, but you've got to also give the team an opportunity to win the game. And I don't feel Nick's goes on about allowing players to show their weapons, and at the moment I just don't feel like he's allowing our players and our team to show its weapons. We've got a couple of good kicks for goal up forward. Get it in there quick. Allow Fogarty a bit of space and a bit of opportunity to get one-on-one instead of having the ball donked on his head all the time. There doesn't seem to be a desire to show whatever strengths we might have as a young group. And we don't even know what our strengths are because we're not playing these kids in the right spots. Lukey Pedler, if he doesn't get 10 CBAs this week, I'll be very, very disappointed because we recruited him. This is his second season on the list. We recruited him as a midfielder, a first-round midfielder. He's got to play there. Got to play there. They're not all Josh Rochellis, are they, Donk, that can just walk straight in and be magicians. Some of them you just need to put them in their position and let them work it out.
Absolutely. And the thing I really liked about the Rochelli debut for me was, he got his 5 goals by not getting lots of magic. Like he was in the right spot at the right time, and he was moving to where he needed to be, and he was kicking goals. And it wasn't Eddie Betsing from the pocket, and he got 5 goals by being in the right spot at the right time and executing. Jimmy Rowe in that first round got his goals by being in the right spot at the right time and executing. And we just need to back our guys to be in the right spots in the right times. And if you're never putting them in the position where they can do their best, then how are they going to do that? Like, how's Pedler going to show that he can actually be a midfield gun if we don't put him in the midfield? Rochelli couldn't have kicked 5 goals if we played him in the back line. So, it's just, it seems to really short-sighted and counterintuitive.
Yeah. And if Peds hasn't got the tank yet to run out a full game playing in the midfield, that's fine. Rotate him, but at least give him more than 1 or 2. He's got to have a couple of quarter. He's got to be in amongst it. He's got to feel like he's part of it. And I think this is where, some of the kids, and, again, Galucci and Paholke and that, they come to mind. I don't think they actually ever feel part of it because they're never trusted with anything, It'll be like it's like the boss getting asked a question at work, and instead of teaching the bloke how to do it so he can do it himself the next time, the boss says, "Oh, just give it to me, I'll handle it for you." And the boss thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's actually not because he's not teaching the employee anything. What do they say about give a man a fish versus teach him how to fish? I feel like we're giving out a lot of fishes and we're not teaching any fishermen.
Yeah, if you teach people how to fish, then they go fishing, and then they're not there to play footy or something.
Yeah, and you can, I don't know what it is.
If you give him out a fish, then he won't drink wine when he eats bread or something. Yeah, anyway.
Then he'll kick the footy. Give a man a fish, and we'll play him in the twos because we don't want to play him at centre half back.
Yeah, you can have some fish, but handball 3-1. Kicks.
Anyway, we've done that to death. But, speaking of defence, that's an area where we've been forced to play kids because we lost Talia, we gave Hardigan away, we had no one else, we had to play Jordan Butts, we had to play Nick Murray, and look what's happened. They're actually a serviceable defence. Jordan Butts has had an excellent last 12 months. Nick Murray has got his limitations, but he's certainly a taxi agate. He's aggressive. You can forgive him a couple of disposal areas because at least he's putting in and keeping blokes quiet. Now, if Daniel Talia had still been fit and available, do you reckon Nick Murray would have got a chance?
No. In fact, Jordan Butts still took to the end of last year to have a real crack, didn't he? Or was it the year before?
Year before. Yeah.
Yeah, like you look at when Tails was around, there was just nothing going on. So
and they've developed. Jordan Butts is developing into a very good fullback, and it's only because we were forced to give him an opportunity because we basically had no one else to play there.
Yeah,
Go on, mate.
Well, I was going to say for the decade that we've had, our defence has always been pretty good. I reckon, but we've always managed to. Unfortunately, I think it might be because they've had so much practice, but our defence has always been good. We've always been able to bring people in, and whatever we're doing in development down the back has been working. And the amount of midfielders that haven't worked to go down back and they learn how to kick the ball. Malaria basically just paved the way that Chase Jones is, going down at the moment. And that's all good and well, but we need some of them to actually become midfielders again. So, I don't know. Maybe it's finally time for Brodie Smith to, crack it back in the centre.
No, it's never a centre. Look, at the end of the day, it's. I think there's a problem with development. I also think there's a problem with selection. And it's possible that we got a couple wrong. So I think there's a bit of column A and a bit of column B in terms of our original question, Dom. Whether it's recruiting or development, probably a bit of both. But I still reckon there's probably players that slipped through the cracks that could have been good players for us had we actually given them the opportunity and developed them appropriately.
Yeah.
All that said, that means is that we've still got a way to go in our rebuild. I mean, when you look at our list, mate, if you look at our list, how and not everyone can be a star, but how many in our current top 15 players in our squad do you rate as premiership contending players?
Yeah. Probably not a whole heap. I think the first part that we're missing is we don't have our Ferrari engines. Like who's our Christian Petraccas and our Clayton Olivers, and I don't know that we've got a midfielder that's as good as Jack Viney, and he's the third, in a premiership team.
Yeah.
Look across the other side of the coin. Who's our Jack McRae, Josh Dunkley, Tim Torre. Tom Little, who are our guys that are those guys? Those real, those extra guys. And I just don't think we've got someone that breaks the game open the way that they do yet. Is that Josh Rochelli? Like, is he our next Petracca? That'd be great. He'll have to play some time in the mid to see. We'll have to see him in the midfield to do that.
Yep.
I think we need to have a real question about whether Riley O'Brien is our ruck option going forward.
100%.
I just don't think. He is. I think he tried really hard, and I thought that there was a little bit coming on, but he can't kick, and he's not that modern ruckman that we'd like him to be. He's done some things really well, but it looks like his output's dropped off a fair bit. In the last few games that I've seen him play, he's not getting around as much as he used to. He's not taking those same marks that he was taking a little bit earlier on. I think we need to bring in Strawn. Then if you move down the list, I think, Keys is, playing his ass off and doing things. So I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but if he shouldn't be our number one midfielder and he shouldn't be winning Golden Jackets.
Yeah. And he'll win two, as after having been delisted from another club, he'll win 2 Golden Jackets with us, at least.
Yeah.
What does that say?
It's boggling. Now, I mean, he might have been saying, he's grabbed an opportunity with both hands and he's done it and he's doing all the right things. So that's why it's, you don't want to be too you don't want to be too scathing of the way you talk about him, but at the end of the day, what he actually does, that's not the prime mover role that you need.
No.
And then if you look through Sloan, he's too old. I would, they retired. What was the Nate Jones? They retired him at Melbourne, so he probably wouldn't get a kick. Matt Crouch would probably be the other player in the premiership side. I think Matt Crouch is a weird one. I think that Matt Crouch is like a big cog on your bike. And so if you ever try to ride your bike start from scratch on your big cog, it's really, really hard because the cog hardly moves. You put that cog on while you're moving at pace, and then it's really effective. And I think that Matt Crouch is a cog that plays in a good midfield, moving at pace really well.
At his
best. Got that control when he gets the ball.
At his best.
So, I just think that's how he needs to play. I think in a midfield where there's not a heap of options, he's been. I watched him. It must have been against the Freo game that really stuck out to me. There was a centre bounce. Matt Crouch gets it, and he's being chased. So he just handballs it half a metre away from himself into Riley O'Brien, who then has to turn around and do a hurry kick out of the centre.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're the midfielder, mate. That's your responsibility. You've got to do something with it. And it was just, I'd rather see him carry the ball, try to do something, get tackled, than not try, than just, literally just take a rebound and hand it off. So, I know he's copping a lot of heat at the moment. I think that he's probably our best trade bait. I reckon he'll pick up I reckon we'd still get some decent value for him, and I reckon we could probably retool and help our rebuild a bit faster. But
if he stays fit. The problem with Crouchy is that when he's not running right on top of the ground, and the only year that I've seen him run on top of the ground is 2017. But when he's not, he goes from being a playmaker to a hot potato handler. So like you said, he'll handball to whoever's near him. It doesn't matter whether they're in trouble or whatever, just make it someone else's problem. Crouch is at his best is creative. He can set up plays. He's when he passes forward, he can actually be quite creative. But we haven't seen a lot of that Matt Crouch. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of backwards handball, a lot of hot potato handball, a lot of disposal counts that have been very skewed towards handball, not enough kicking, certainly not enough forward movement. He rarely breaks 200 metres gained, which for a midfielder is ridiculous. And we get no defensive pressure from him. And for all his benefits.
Despite other opinions, we do want midfielders to tackle. We do want that a lot. Please tackle. If you're a midfielder listening, can you please tackle?
Don't listen to Nikki on that one. I don't know where that came from. And I think she just got a little bit carried away with what she was talking about. Because
tackle.
Please tackle. Please tackle. That's fundamental tackle, for God's sake. But anyway, look, I got an excellent post on Big Footy during the week stating that we're being a bit impatient on this cast and that the rebuild's going to take longer and we're never going to beat Collingwood at the G and our record and yada yada yada. And I'd take all that on board. I'm not negative about the kids that we've got coming through because I think they've all shown glimpses and they've all shown bits and pieces of what they can do. And I think we've got quite a good young group at the moment. the problem is they're not being allowed to actually shine. I don't think they're being given the opportunity. So certainly on this cast, from me, the criticisms at the moment are about selection and are about the lack of performance of the senior players and the senior players taking positions that maybe they should relinquish. That's probably my biggest beef at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd rather see 20 games of. I'd rather see 20 games of Schoenberg, Pedler, and Berry in the guards, in the knowledge that at the end of the season we will know exactly where we sit with Schoenberg, Berry, and Pedler. I don't give a rat's ass about Rory Sloane. He's not in our next premiership side, so I don't need to see any more of Rory. I need to see more of Harry. I need to see more of Sam Berry. I need to see more of Luke Pedler. You know, these lads, they're the blokes that we need to see. And it'll be the same when Tex comes back. He'll come straight back in at probably the expense of Lockie Gallant. I don't need to see Tex. I need to see Lockie Gallant.
No, caveat. I was thinking about Tex a little bit the other day, or this morning. And the thing about Tex is, in his recent playing history, I've seen Tex play excellent and be elite on the ground.
Yep,
and
100%.
I haven't seen that from Rory Sloane for a long time.
No, that's right.
In fact, there's a part of me, and this might be being very negative, but Rory Sloane got tagged halfway through 2017, and I reckon he has been. I don't know what game it was. I reckon it might have been the Security game in the middle of 2017, and he got tagged, and he got tagged every week after that. And I reckon he just has never. We've never seen what he was before that again. Like, we just haven't seen him dominate a field. The other game it could have been is when he got knocked out on the ground in Darwin, sort of right in front of me. I just don't know that he's played. He hasn't been the same Rory Sloane since.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had foot problems. Look, I maintain, Donk, that Rory was an excellent Robin to Patrick's Batman. I think the two in tandem complemented each other beautifully. We had Dangers inside grunt. We had Rory on the outside, running the wings and gut running and all the rest of it. And I feel like when Pat left and Rory was left to pick up the pieces of the midfield, I just don't think maybe it actually showed why he went at pick 62 or whenever it was. Maybe that was the knock, And look, Sloane's been an excellent servant of the club. Wouldn't knock that at all. But I think as a senior player, if you love your club and you're caring about your teammates and you're being selfless, which is what the culture is supposed to be promoting down there, if you're being selfless, then you watch your tapes and you think, you know what, I've lost a yard. I still reckon I can play at this level, but I can't play as a first rotation midfielder anymore. I need to have a chat with Nixie about it.
Yeah, I just want to. Someone in the chat, Lewis, has said.
Yeah, go on.
I was talking about whether you drop Sloaney. I don't necessarily want to drop Sloaney. I just don't want him being, I don't want us pretending he's the midfield bull that he is anymore. I want Sloaney to go sit on the half-forward flank and, use his running to where it's a weapon and make himself a dangerous target up forward because he can actually stop the goals when he takes the marks and he's worth looking after. Like, he's actually probably the perfect fit to take over the Lynchy role.
Lynchy's role, 100%.
Like, he's got a place. He's got something to do on the team. But that place isn't taking centre bounce attendances away from the next group of guys that are going to try to lead us to a premiership. I want Luke Pedler to be standing on the dais at the end of September holding a cup one day, and he's not going to do that. And the longer we delay his development, the longer it's going to take for him to do that.
Well, and the more likely that Luke won't make it because he just won't have the opportunities. There's a few people, a couple of comments that I noticed on the chat. Blade said, be a bad look dropping the captain. Well, GWS had no trouble dropping Coniglio when he was out of nick, so I don't think there's a problem with that. A few people are saying, is it a big ask for a player to think like that? Well, maybe it is, but that's where the coach has got to have some agates. And this is getting back to my point about a cultural thing at Adelaide Football Club, overrating our senior players and elevating them, putting them up on a pedestal instead of critically analysing their performance and selecting without emotion, which I don't think we're good at. So yeah, maybe it is a big ask for a player to put up his hand and say, you know what, I can't play there anymore. But that's what the coach's job is, to sit down with Sloaney and go through the tapes and go, Rory, what do you reckon? You know, maybe it's time to slip back to a second rotation, and we'll run you half-forward flank for a few weeks, see how you go.
Yeah, and he's going to look like a jet. Like, he's going to look like an absolute jet doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I reckon we've probably done that to death. I want to look forward, but before I do, I want to remind people that are in the chat and listening in, if you're on Discord and you want those tickets for Friday night, I don't reckon I've got many entrants at the moment. Donkey, how many have I got? Where's the tickets channel?
You're 6.
I've got one. Razor can't. Razor, get out. So Razor can't enter because he's in bloody America, you idiot. Oh, we love Razor. The other thing is, Nikki and other people, can you not chat in that channel? Can you just put your bloody comment in and not chat in it, please? Just one chat. Vardy, shut up. Look at the mentality of the people that listen to us, Donkey. The people that listen to us. So at the moment, I've got 4 entries.
Yeah, there's serious questions about Vardy Magic for a lot of
they've been asked for a long time. And rightly so too. Plenty of opportunities to get on the chat, Vardy Magic, and never taken it up once. Do you know that? Never actually come on and had his say. Doesn't mind sniping from the cheat seats. Doesn't mind sniping from the cheat seats on Twitter, Donkey, does he?
No, he loves it. But what I haven't told you before is Vardy Magic is actually a really complicated Russian chatbot that I've invented. So he's not actually a real person.
You know what? I reckon it's a double negative. He's got on his profile not the real Vardy, Peter Vardy. Maybe it is the real Peter Vardy. Yeah, and you know what the funny thing about that is? You know, even if it was the real Peter Vardy, I wouldn't recognise his voice anyway. I wouldn't have a bloody clue. Unless he did a bloody cartwheel in the forward pocket, I wouldn't know whether it's Peter Vardy or not. Yeah, anyway,
big dog.
All right, so look, you've got probably about 10 minutes to get your name into that chat. So please, just put your bloody comment in. Don't chat in there, Nikki. Thank you, and others. And I'll pull the rabbit out of the hat at about, what time is it now? 9:33, probably about 9:45, I reckon. So let's talk about the Showdown, mate, because zip 2 for both of us, and we're actually sitting above the Marnie Pair at the moment, and they've got some troubles up forward.
We're going to win.
Right.
That's my gut feeling. We're going to win. And I'm not sure what I've got to back that up in any sort of rational terms, except that I feel it. I think that showdowns are always weird.
Yes, they
results and fun to go around anyway. I think that we've got a bunch of kids that don't know any better. They don't know that they're supposed to keep losing, so they're just going to go in and give it a hoot. And if we put them in, then we're given the opportunity to do that. I think that we've got a bunch of older blokes that once they get pumped up by a bit of a yelling crowd, will swell to remember some of the days gone by. I also think that Port will take us a bit soft this week. I think they will be and I've seen Nicky say they always live for showdowns, and it's true they will live for a showdown, but there will just be a bit of they'll lift and want to cream us, but they won't think much of us, and they'll just think this is in the bag. So I just think there's a whole lot of magical karma things that could be just coming in our favour, and I reckon if we can kick straight.
Yes,
I put an asterisk. If we can fucking kick straight,
yes.
Then
Jimmy Rowe
in the first half,
yes, please.
Then we'll be fine. I don't know. I'm feeling good about it for some reason. Feeling good. So I was feeling pretty bad about the Pies game. I picked.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get flogged, and we got flogged.
Hit pass.
I thought we were going to. So anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, that's good. Look, we have a couple of players in our team that I reckon love the Adelaide Oval atmosphere. And amongst them is young Joshua Shelley. Loves the atmosphere. Already gone to the high five in the crowd after a goal. And, there's no actual reason why I think this, Donkey, but I'm with you. I'm actually with you. I think particularly if we get a little bit dangerous in the midfield, if they go with the same, like Sloaney might be out, but Lairdy will be in. So I don't know, probably a win. Lairdy's probably a little bit more worthwhile. Lairdy will get more of the agate than Sloaney. So that's a win. They're giving Sloaney every chance to come up. Of course they will. But probably do with a week off, I reckon, with that adductor and Lairdy to come back in. So that's one change. Do you reckon Riley comes in for Elliott? Riley showed nothing in the twos last week, but Elliott wasn't as bad as what people thought he was last week. He wasn't great, but I'm telling you, he wasn't great. But he had 12 touches, took a couple of marks, should have kicked a couple of goals. Probably didn't work hard enough, but he wasn't as bad as what people thought. That's my opinion.
I reckon. Yeah,
Firewalker's just absolutely. If I was on the stage at the Grammys, Firewalker just would have walked up and bitch slapped me, and said, "Get my Himmelberg out of his mouth" or something. I don't know, whatever Will Smith said. Firewalker's absolutely destroyed me right there. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon I'd bring Riley Thilthorpe back in. I think that this is the sort of game that he's been getting ready to play in his brain since he was a little kid. I reckon he wants to be good on the big stage. I reckon. I reckon the Berg. I reckon you're right. The Berg might not have been as bad in round 2 as he was in round 1, but I just don't know why. I just don't know why you wouldn't make that change. It seems like a very simple and easy one. You'd only be protecting. Yeah, and you know what? I reckon 90% of the crowd would rather see Riley play than Elliot Himmelberg.
Yes, I agree.
I'm just not sure how. I'm not sure how big Elliot Himmelberg's family is, so maybe it's not quite 10% there. But I reckon everyone would want to see Riley Thilthorpe play. Why wouldn't you put the guy in that you want your cloud to play? Like, it's just we want to see our kids play. I want to see Riley Thilthorpe clunking goals. I want to see Fogg kicking him from 60 out through the middle, and I want to see Joshua Shelley like absolutely carving up Port, and Port going, "Oh my God, what are we going to do for the next 20 years against this guy?"
Yes, correct. Agreed.
And then I want Dersma and Butters to go, "Oh, that's right, we're not actually that good at footy." That's
right.
Fantastic. But
yeah, that's right. Oh, dear.
Butters wasn't fantastic at football, but he had.
Yeah. Just a shout out. Don't forget, put your name in the channel if you want a ticket. If you want to have a chat, now's the time to put up your hand. We've got a couple of minutes. Dom, I'm with you. I reckon all those things could happen. I don't reckon Port are that good. I reckon their forward line is atrocious. They're starting to suffer from a couple of blokes ageing. Robbie Gray, I don't even think is going to play. Their defence is okay. It's solid, I guess. But a lot will depend on whether our young lads can step up. And I just reckon there's a bit of... when I chat to the young fellas that I've chatted to on interviews and that, and they all say the same thing. They want to take ownership of the club. And these are the sorts of games that they should be handed the keys and gone, you know what, there you go. Let's win this thing with the young kids. Rory, you go and sit on a half-forward flank. Let's let Harry and Luke and a few others take this by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can imagine that, Harry Schoenberg, Luke Pedler, Braden Cook, and Riley, all South Australian boys grown up here, know how big Showdown is every time, and they just want to be part of that. They want to show what we've got.
100%.
And something I haven't rabbited on about yet tonight is Harry Schoenberg. I know there's a lot of people on his back at the moment, but I absolutely love this kid. And I know he's sprayed the ball a few times and he's done a few things. And, you know what? I fucking have really bad days at work a lot too. I just have a couple of bad, and he's had a couple of bad ones in a row, but he put in such good footy over such a long amount of time for a young kid. Everyone needs just to back the fuck up and go, hey, this kid's a gun, and we're going to get around him, and he's going to give us another 20 years of fucking excellence. So everyone just needs to relax on the showy.
I still think he's going to win a Brownlow medal, Don. I've called that from his first season. I reckon he's an absolute beauty, and I agree with you. People are so quick to jump off these kids, and so they scream to have the kids play, and then the kids make a few mistakes, and they're like, "Oh, he can't play, can't play." What the hell are you talking about? The kid has showed enough that he can play. He can play. That's no longer a question now. Now it's a question of development and putting games into him.
Yeah, and I'd put Lockie Scholl in that same boat. We know that Lockie Scholl can play. He ran out of battery midway through last year. Nothing else. I even think Hamill can play. He just keeps knocking himself out, which is a problem.
Yeah, he's a bit of a worry.
He can play the game though. And,
yes, he can.
And there's been enough out. But there's too many of our people who haven't been able to play the game. So let's just pick them. They're going to go up and down. It's going to be fine. And just want to put my love for Harry out there, just in case you're listening, Harry. I'm assuming that you are. Fucking get there, touch it, fight it, kick 3 goals, and take home the Showdown medal.
That would be good to see. And we've got, it's a good point you make, because Lockie Gallant, there's no doubt he can play, takes the ball in the air. Braden Cook, he's got tricks, no doubt he can play. We've just got to play these kids now. Just play them.
Yeah. Anyway.
So two for the Crows, and just to back up how insightful we are, Don, I'm just going to show you the rankings for the CrowCast tipping competition after 2 rounds, and I'll just find me no, I got to load more. No. Oh, there I am. 2 rounds of 4. Ranked 63rd in the comp. People of the likes of...
You've gotten heaps better since I was here last.
Yeah, I know. I haven't even bothered bloody entering fantasy. Don't worry about that. I've got people like Razor Ray above me. And no disrespect to Razor Ray, but he's not a good judge. Not the best at times. Yeah. So anyway, just looking at the top few, Y2, I don't even know what that is. Damien scored 8 last week. So he's had an 8 and a 7, Damien, sitting well clear on 15. And I think my phone's just run out of batteries, so I might have to make you talk for a second while I go and plug it in, donkey. But I'll just run through these and then I'll make you talk for a minute. Hudson's on 12, along with About Time on 12, Brighton, Elvis, Collingwood. We've got a bunch on 12. But, Damien P, 3 in front after 2 rounds. That's not a bad start, mate, is it?
No, that's fantastic.
All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch my camera off the screen for a minute. And I'm going to just let you talk a little bit more about the Showdown for a couple of seconds while I go and get the cord from my camera so people aren't looking at a frozen me. And go.
All right, well, so nothing like being back in the frying pan, or being back in the fryer after this. I haven't quite prepared a monologue for the Showdown, but I'll roll it on for as long as I can. Razor's getting me to fire up. It doesn't happen that that easily, but maybe it can. Look, I am very pumped for the Showdown, guys. I'm very excited about it. For some reason, something is just sort of riding away in my gut that tells me that we are going to come away from a win here. I felt like we were a very frustrated side over the last couple of weeks. I feel like that second half against Fremantle just showed us what footy we have inside of us when we want to play is there, and it was just running out of battery at the end of that game. I feel for Riley Thilthorpe for the couple of little muck-ups he did quite at the end there, but we had the cattle on the park that should have taken that away. And even for different stretches against Collingwood, even though we got pumped in the end, I think there was some really good passages of football, and if we'd actually bothered to kick goals instead of points, then it would have been a really, really, really different game again. Port, as a club, are cooked as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to win a premiership under Ken. They are flopping around like a barrel on a boat ramp at the moment. They are absolutely behind the eight ball in terms of their forward line. I haven't watched a lot of them play. In fact, I didn't watch the second game. Thinking that the Hawks were going to go down, and they got absolutely pumped by those guys in the brown and gold. So, are Port there? No, I don't think they are. Hopefully, can get signs another. Signs that well, let's hear from the listeners. They have to put up with my dribble, but I reckon
Absolute
that Ken Hinkley needs another. Ken Hinkley needs a contract extension coming in this week.
Oh my God, that was sensational. As I just plug in my camera again. All right, look, while I'm waiting for this, let's do the draw for the tickets. Now, who have I got in as, if you haven't got your bloody entry in now, then forget about it. So we have 3 people in here. Radicus, Animal, Steamboat. Nikki Hassel, were you in here or are you not going to be in here now? Speak up on chat. Because you were in here before and now you're gone. Alright, so you're not coming? Alright, if anyone wants a chance to win tickets to the Showdown, you've got 30 seconds to win to get into the tickets channel. Put a comment in so I've got your name. Because I'm just about to draw it. So Andaluz, if you want a ticket, put your name in the tickets channel. Real quick. Dude, you don't have to write War and Peace. Just put it. There we go. Hey?
How good is giving away tickets to the Showdown, Fiend?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it is very good. It's very good. We have a nice supporter that has helped us with that, which is fantastic. All right, so I have... Oh, Scoot, are you coming in?
Why are you working that out?
Scoot, get it, for God's sake. Don't chat in that channel, for God's sakes. Scoot, if you chat that channel, I'm going to ban you for 24 hours. If you type anything other than I want to... there you go. Let's get him off. All right. So I've got 4 people. I've got Radicus, I've got Animal, I've got Steamboat, and I've got Andaluz. That means that I've got... you've got a 1 in 4 chance. On the screen, let me just do this. I think
it's 25%, Fiend. 25% chance.
Whatever. On the screen, you can see that I've got a random number generator. All right. So Radicus is 1, Animal is 2, Steamboat is 3, Andaluz is 4. I'll just change the max to 4. And drum roll, here we go. And it's number 2, which is Animal. Number 2 is Animal. You've won the double general admission pass to the footy. Congratulations. Commiserations to those other people. But as we all know, we are giving away tickets every home game this year, John.
Wow.
So they'll have more chances. That's incredible. Every home game.
That's incredible.
Not bad, is it?
Well, if there's still only 4 people that enter every week and there's 13 home games, you've got a chance for the CrowCast to set you along to 3 games a year.
Correct.
Just on base percentages.
Correct. All right. So, Animal, I will get in touch with you on DMs in Discord. So watch your messages there, and we'll work out how to get those tickets to you before Friday night. So congratulations to Animal. Thanks to everyone who enters, and make sure that you spread the word. I'm just restarting my bloody camera. Talk for a minute.
Things happen, and we really like football here on the CrowCast, and that's why we go for the Crows. Yay, Crows! You ready yet?
Keep going.
Oh, I do love football, and that's why I liked 1998 Premiership the most.
Did you like 98 more than 97?
Yeah, because fuck the Kangaroos. No, I don't know. 97, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because 97 is the first one, so it's obviously the special.
Yeah.
And, but, I've done a couple of things in my life that were inaugural, and, they were the first, and it was great. But, I've gotten a lot better at them since.
I reckon...
we took out one carry in the second one.
I'm almost inclined to run a poll, and Pete will be horrified by me saying this, but I'm almost inclined to run a poll saying, do people want Pete back next week? Because I'll tell you what, Donk, you've just come in and gone bang, and you're a bit of a crowd favourite early on.
Yeah, look, I'm a Christian protractor type midfielder. I'm really good for the first 5 or 6. Then I fucking have to go have a nap after a while. So
the first player.
Yeah. I'm an impact player. Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon my camera might be working again now. Let me just have a look.
No.
It's disappointing for a lot of people. But here we go.
I was about to say, if you want to start checking data, you should check in the drop-off rate once you turn it back on.
Yeah, that's right. Get stuffed. All right. I reckon I can't think of anything else I'm supposed to do on Tuesday night.
No, but Ahsoka's just mentioned Nick Davis is the super sub, and just want to point out it's Nick Davis's birthday. And I've got a really good mate as a Geelong supporter, so I just like reminding him of lots of Nick Davis things. So it is Nick Davis's birthday.
Wasn't that just a game too? Bloody hell. That's amazing, that game.
Yeah.
Donkey, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on tonight, mate. It's been far too long. I know we've been chatting sort of in Twitter DMs and all the rest of it, but to have you on at such short notice, really appreciate you coming in and filling in for Peter, who couldn't be with us. Really glad to see that you're going well up there, and the lovely wife is keeping you on track.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Thanks for having me back. I'm sorry to all of those that miss hearing me. I'm actually quite busy and a fair bit of crap going on in my life, but today just worked out, and even then I was still running through the door to get here. But I've loved every minute of it, and having a chat with you guys. I've been in the chat a couple of times now, just chomping at the bit, wanting to get on and yell at Macca and a few other things. So it's been good to buy off some rust tonight.
Beautiful. Now, we've just got Animal on here. So, Animal, winner of the tickets.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, mate.
Yeah, sweet. Hey, I just want to say thank you very much, and to whoever's donated those tickets, thanks to them as well.
Beautiful, mate. I'll
Good
you're much welcome. I'll get in touch with you in a private message in Discord how to get them to you. Over the next 24 hours, mate. Good on you. Lonely Ashoka in the... what's that?
I take my little lad with me. Last time I took him to the footy a while ago. You know how it is with the younger kids. They get a bit bored after a while.
They do.
But eventually, after a bag of lollies, he's sort of found his voice hanging out with the cheer squad. Sort of feeling his head off a little bit, and then he liked the footy after that. So
fantastic.
All right.
Good on you, mate. How's the drumming going?
Yeah, getting back into it now. It's starting to actually book some gigs, which is great.
Anything you want to promote?
Mate, most of my shows are weddings and,
bar mitzvahs,
and whatever else is paying the best money. But yeah, no, it's starting to take some booking now, which is great because the restrictions lifting.
Good stuff. So fantastic.
earn some money
All right,
again.
Very good. We'll look out for a message from me. We'll get those tickets to you. Thanks for being a long time listener, mate.
All right, thanks very much, Phoenix.
Cheers. Mate, I reckon that's a pretty good note to finish up on. So thanks to everyone for joining us on YouTube and on Discord tonight. It's been very lively. Donk, as I said, it's been fantastic to have you on. Peter will be back next week unless the poll on Twitter that I'm just about to post says otherwise. If you want to support the cast, you can go to patreon.com/AFLCrowCast. Every dollar that's chucked our way is greatly appreciated. And until Friday night, take care. Don't forget the game day chat will be very, very lively on Friday night. So if you're not going to the game, or even if you are, hook into the Discord channel, go to the live stadium chat channel, and it will be going off, I'm sure. Mate, all the best to your family. Thanks again.
Yeah,
and
you too, thanks.
We'll catch you again another time.
Yeah, mate, I'm about to go home and sip an icy cold can of Coke. Sorry, someone wanted me to say that. Okay.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.